Welcome back, guys. Today we'll be doubling the power output on my stock Predator 670 Vtwin. So the application is for off-road. We want something that can rev pretty high but still have lots of torque. So we'll start by removing the oil bolt and draining the oil. This oil looks brand new. Here's our custom header. I highly recommend getting rid of the stock throttle linkages as they are known for sticking. So I really like this engine in terms of its simplicity. After all, it was only designed to sit on pressure washers and lawnmowers. Go ahead and unbolt the side cover to access the internals. This engine utilizes a plastic oil pump gear. Believe it or not, a Honda CR500 also has plastic inside its engine. So we are ditching this oil sensor. So Harbor Freight should have sold this engine for 50% off because we're literally throwing away half of this engine. Most of the stock stuff is for emissions anyways. The intake manifold and carburetors are highly restrictive, but are great for bottom end power. I will be deleting this carburetor intake as well as the pulse pump for simplicity. We will be installing Performance 670's billet intake standoffs for a dual carb setup. Generally, the bigger the carburetor, the better it is for top end power at the expense of low end torque. In order to remove the camshaft, we will need to relieve the tension by pulling the rockers. Don't be tempted to pry on the cam as you may damage it. And don't forget about the push rods. This governor shaft will be removed and cut short so it does not interfere with moving parts. Don't forget about the rest of the oil sensor. Here's the stock cam next to our upgraded cam. You can see the low profiles are much bigger than stock. This is a pretty hot cam. It makes its peak power around 7,000 RPMs. Go ahead and lube your lifters and slide them in. In goes the governor shaft. Make sure you take note of all washers. Slide the cam in and make sure it is aligned with the dots. I'm using an M10 bolt in place of the oil sensor and securing it with lots of red Loctite. Here's everything we won't be using. I'll probably still keep it. Take your time when removing the governor. I had to break the gear in order to remove the small circlip. Pry the gear off and don't forget the black washer at the bottom. I am now going to install heavier valve springs. I'm going to remove the heads because it is much easier to install them with the heads off. Like I said, this is pretty much a brand new engine. I don't have a valve spring decompressor tool, so I made my own out of a spark plug removal tool. Simply press down on the springs until the retainers can slide off. Put in the new springs and carefully push them down until you can seat the retainers. It is definitely much easier with two people. I'd say these valve springs are one of the best bang for your buck mods. Just by installing them and removing the governor, you can gain 5 to 10 horsepower depending on your application. Slide the head on, make sure you oil the head bolts and torque them to 26 foot-pounds. Here is a more detailed look of the other side. If using RTV, you must shim the crankshaft and cam to proper specs. Performance 670 does sell the proper shims. Now if you've noticed, I did not upgrade my connecting rods or add a lighter flywheel. The parts are very expensive and are out of my price range, but I will be installing them later down the line. When putting the side cover on, make sure there is no tension on the cam, otherwise you may have trouble lining it up. Torque the side cover bolts to 16 foot-pounds. We're installing heavier steel push rods for a stiffer valve train. Lube the rockers and slide the pin in. I am setting the valve lash to 8 thousandths of an inch. I went ahead and painted our header pipe, and I think it looks awesome. For those of you wondering, these are knockoff 28mm flat slide carburetors paired with a Banshee throttle cable. I'll be running 50 weight oil. My reasoning is the thicker the better, just like women. I'm just kidding, that's not really true. Man, I'm nervous, guys. Let's go ahead and start this motor. Ignition is on, spark is checked. That was only 4,200 RPMs. That's about half throttle. Guys, this thing is a monster. Yeah, very happy. So thank you all for watching. This is a bit different video style than regular, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like down below. But I am super excited to tune this engine and test out the power. Be sure to browse all my other videos. Stay tuned and God bless.